music plays, we invite you to just close your eyes, relax, rest in the presence, and hold space.
Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vigna Karadura Hamari. Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vigna Karadura Hamari. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Ganapataye Namo Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vigna Karadura Hamari. Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vigna Karadura Hamari. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Namo
Namaste.
Namaste.
Welcome to our Satlang?
Online
Online Satsang. I just noticed that the
I
camera
just noticed
thing-
that too.
Yeah.
Like, okay, tweak it.
Have to adjust the camera. But I'm also noticing that I made an announcement on Facebook earlier today that we're not going to be having Satsang on New Year's Day here at Flowering Heart Center. But we will be having online Satsang tonight. Looks like nobody read the rest of the sentence. When they saw no Satsang, they assumed that meant tonight.
Ah.
Oh well,
No, there's a
those
couple
of you who make it, you're fortunate. And please give us a like or a love. And if you tune into this later tonight or tomorrow or any time between now and next week or a year from now, give us a like or a love if you're watching on Facebook Live, or enter something in the chat on Vimeo. Say, hi, it's me. And we love to see that you've dropped in and visited. So, Satsang means community of truth. And what it refers to is any time two or more people who are on the path of awakening and transforming into higher states of consciousness join together to share their journeys, to share blessings, to share questions. We have a satsang, and the depth of our interior silence is multiplied when we come together in meditation. And we strengthen each other exponentially. So it's really an important part of the journey. And today on Earth, it is essential that as many of us awaken beyond the blinding veil of ego as quickly as possible. It's that veil that the mind creates of separation and division that keeps us defensive and scared of one another. It leads to fear and anger and violence and war, and everything that's happening on Earth is because so much of the human race is blinded by the veil of ego. So awakening is to dissolve that veil and to begin to experience and perceive reality as it is, to experience oneness with the divine source, oneness with each other, oneness with nature and with all that is. And from that place, the world begins anew. So we're working as quickly as possible toward a time when the whole collective consciousness of humanity on Earth shifts. That will happen when we reach critical mass, whatever that is. A certain number of us will awaken, and then the collective itself will shift from selfishness and self-centeredness and fear and ego into oneness and joy and love and light. So thank you for being here and helping with this process. We share throughout these webcasts a transmission called the Flowering Heart Blessing. That is a direct transmission of divine presence and awakened consciousness that catalyzes in the receiver the process of awakening. If you're already awakening, it will smooth the journey and dissolve blocks. If you're already one of the fortunate awakened ones, it'll take you deeper, because that's not a destination. Awakening is an ongoing process. So that blessing, you're soaking in it right now. And if you'd like to be an instrument of divine grace, just invite the divine presence to pour the Flowering Heart Blessing through you during this webcast satsang to all the people who are watching. And we hold the intention, everyone who ever views this video or listens to the soundtrack of it will receive the same blessing. And it's easy to say that because the blessing, the Flowering Heart Blessing, is a transmission of spirit. And spirit is unbounded by time or space, distance. It's always here and always now. And that means someone who tunes into this a year from now would receive the same blessing and the same presence that we experience here tonight. If you missed, which is very possible, our Interfaith Communion with the Cosmic Christ, which we do once a month on the final Sunday of the month, which was yesterday, the 29th. it was nice. You might want the recording, the audio is right here on Facebook Live. If you're watching on Vimeo, it's in our library there. And you might be interested in the subject matter. It was very powerful, and it kind of set the tone and the intention that we're taking for going into the year 2025. And I know that not just people here in the United States who are looking forward to a rather dramatic shift in the government in the next week, people all over the world are kind of going, what's going to happen? What's up? Because we're all connected. What happens there affects us here. What happens here affects you there. And so this immediate time ahead could bring many changes to the world scene. And we want the hand of God to be upon all those changes and direct them. I'm sure you do too. What else? Well, we entertain questions on the spiritual journey, things you may be encountering, things you may be puzzling over, just would like more clarity, more light. If you ask your questions, it helps all of us because all of our journeys, while unique and different, parallel each other, and we go through very similar challenges and questions along the way. So when you raise a question about something you're thinking about or experiencing in your spiritual practice, it will help everyone here.
I'd like to take a moment to express gratitude to those of you that sent in donations for the holidays. It's always really gratefully appreciated. So just wanted to throw that out there. Thank you.
Indeed, thank you. We don't take it for granted. And we pray that it be multiplied back to those who give in whatever area of life you need it most. And so to give you some time to look inside and ask yourself, is there something I could bring up, a question or an observation that might catalyze the inspiration of the divine presence to us tonight? You've got a few minutes. Just ask inside, is there something I should ask? You know, we all know the things that we're puzzling over, that we're trying to sort out in our spiritual journeys and as our lives unfold. And sometimes it takes, I know, some courage and transparency to put it out there. But I promise you, if you do, you're blessed. So while you're looking inside and asking that question, I like to share each week the brief articles and quotes from a website called inspiringquotes.com. On that website, inspiringquotes.com, a group of authors that live in various places in the world share very brief 2 or 3 paragraph articles on some relevant topic, and then share with us quotes from spiritual leaders, authors, influential people throughout history that shed light on that subject. Our article and the quotes we'll be sharing tonight are from Paula Bennett. Paula Bennett is a writer based in Brooklyn, New York. She writes a fortnightly newsletter that treasures the mundane, called Small Histories. You can find her on Instagram at Paula Bennett, and Paula spelled Paula Bennet. Thank you, Paula. We really appreciate her input. We've shared a number of articles from her in the past. And tonight, it's 9 quotes to help a friend in crisis. Anybody have a friend in crisis? Anybody not have a friend in crisis? Here's what Paula says. When a friend calls to talk through a crisis or problem they're facing, we want to be supportive and comforting. But it can be difficult to know what to say if we don't have specific experience with what they're dealing with. Old adages such as, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger," may sound trite, or make it seem like we're downplaying or dismissing their struggles. It's hard enough to manage a crisis and all the emotions that come with it without being told why it isn't a crisis. Listening and being a source of support are crucial in situations like these. In fact, research shows that having strong social support can not only help someone bounce back from a difficult situation, but also improves their physical health. So keeping our loved ones focused on the basics, especially when it comes to taking care of themselves, can make all the difference in how they move forward. These quotes may help you help them by offering perspective and gentle words of encouragement. So here we go. You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. In fact, it may be necessary to encounter the defeats so you can know who you are, what you can rise from, and how you can still come out of it. Maya Angelou. When tough times come, it is particularly important to offset them with much gentle softness. Be a pillow. Vera Nazarian. Sometimes you go through things that seem huge at the time. While they're happening, they feel like the only thing that matters. And then you move on. And the event is behind you. And you may find as time passes that you remember it less and less. Joseph Fink and Jeffrey Craner. You would never tell someone with a broken leg that they should stop wallowing and get it together. Getting help isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. Michelle Obama. If you prioritize yourself, you're going to save yourself. Gabriel Union. Tough times never last, but tough people do. Robert Schuller. Courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes courage is the quiet voice at the end of the day saying, I will try again tomorrow. Marianne Rademacher. Hope is important because it can make the present moment less difficult to bear. If we believe that tomorrow will be better, we can bear a hardship today. Thich Nhat Hanh, the Zen master. You are still here, and that matters. Morgan Harper Nichols.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that be a pillow.
Yeah. It's easy to remember.
Yeah, well, be a pillow for your friend, who's in crisis. So, Stacy writes, thank you and Happy New Year, Michael and Suzanne Champlin. I read the whole Facebook notice. Evidently, you're here. Thanks, Stacy.
Happy New Year's to you, too. I'll be glad when this one ushers out.
Huh. Interesting. It says we're using over 95% of the central processing unit. I don't see how that's possible. And we're still on the air, so.
Roll with it.
Yep, just going to roll with it. Are there any other questions as we face these interesting times and a whole new year? We're not going to be sad to see 2024 go around here.
Not for a second.
We've lost some very dear friends. weathered 2 major hurricanes that...
And a third,
Third what?
Deborah. Hurricane. Right before the 2 big ones.
Yeah, that wasn't major and it didn't hit us here.
Right.
We had 2 here that took out so many of our friends' homes and all their possessions. All the homes pretty much on the barrier islands and the beaches around here had 4 feet of water in the house, which meant everything under 4 feet. That means all the furniture and most everyone's possessions in a 1-story home had to be completely trashed, thrown away.
Yeah.
Very difficult time. So, and I know it wasn't just us here in Florida. I know we have friends in Asheville, North Carolina, and
Yeah.
it's unbelievable what
One friend whose house washed away.
a hurricane
Right.
that has already been through Florida and through the southeast can do when it gets all the way up to North Carolina.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've lost dear friends who passed on this year, and it's just been very challenging.
Yes.
So we have great hopes for 2025. A lot of faith, and we've been putting it out there. Stacy writes, like so many, I sometimes find achieving forgiveness a challenge. It seems like the best outcomes I've had is by backing away from the mental hamster wheel and asking for divine help. I still don't know how I define forgiveness. Perhaps it's more of a letting go that happens on its own. Yeah, that's what I say. Used to do a process with people called the sacred chambers, and there's one of the chambers was teaching the essential truths that are important if you want to come. What is?
Fireworks.
Oh, we have
All the
fireworks going on out there. I thought it was a screaming banshee. It was kind of weird. One of the teachings touched on the importance of forgiveness. If we want to have a face-to-face encounter with our divine, we need to forgive. And sometimes that's not easy. When I was first being taught about forgiveness in church settings, we were told forgiveness is something you decide to extend to someone before you feel like it, because it's the right thing to do. I mean, I'm hurt, I'm carrying this hurt, but I choose because it's right to forgive you. And a lot of times it's put this way: you need to forgive them in order for God to forgive you. So none of us want to be held accountable for our errors and reap what we've sown. We want our negative karma to be absolved and released, so we better forgive everybody else. And that doesn't help, because what I found is that, maybe I forgave someone for some grievous offense where I was deeply hurt, and I made a decision. I choose to forgive you, and in the name of the divine, I forgive you and I release you. Imagine that a year or two goes by, and I see that person in the grocery store several aisles down. What's the first thing that comes into my mind is what I had to forgive them for. And that reminds me of the story. And the story still carries a charge. And so I'm feeling again like salt in the wound. I'm feeling the charge that I had tried to forgive a couple years before. And what did I do? Well, I ducked and I hid and went down another row in the grocery store. So there's more to forgiveness than that. And I learned in the last 20 years that forgiveness is more of a happening than an act of the will. It's I like what you said. It's more of a letting go that happens on its own. But I learned that when it happens is when we're finally free from the charge, from the pain of that experience. As long as we carry the pain, we can say, I forgive you all day long, but I still feel in the pain that was inflicted. And the only way I learned to release, I learned that all psychological pain is because of resistance to feeling something I don't want to feel in the present moment. I want to feel that wound that was inflicted years ago. And so the suffering is because I'm resisting the feeling. And the way the pain eventually is released is when somehow we embrace it and we allow ourselves to experience it without resistance, and then the charge discharges. As long as we resist it, it's encapsulated and buried like a time capsule. It'll come up again and again. When we finally allow the experience, I mean, it's in the past. There's nothing we can do to make it not happen. And we don't want to be carrying that around, that flavor, that pain for the rest of our lives. So we, with the help of divine grace, we embrace it and accept it and let it go. And it discharges, and suddenly we discover there's nothing left to forgive. That we have, without even knowing it, forgiven that person because the unforgiveness was a result of the pain that we were still carrying. So it sounds like you got that already, Stacy, but I thought I'd just expound a little. Do you want to share anything?
Yeah, I do. Actually, it's funny, Stacy, maybe it's because we have the same birthday or we're on this trajectory together in life, but this year, every year I usually take time on my birthday and around coming up to it to reflect on the year, to reflect on my growth and progress and center, and just really take time to process things before the end of the year. And we were in the middle of Milton during my birthday, our birthday, and
Hurricane Milton.
Hurricane Milton. And,
they all have names.
And it was all just a little too hectic. We had people staying here that had lost their power, and so I didn't really take that time this year to do it. And there's been a few incidences this year where I felt betrayed by people close to me, and more recently in the last week. And we were just discussing this in the car on the way home from our walk, and Michael said, "You need to forgive." And I said, "I need a moment to process this. I'm really angry, and I need to feel that." And it was to the point where it brought me to tears last night, and I realized while I was crying that I had a story in my head, and the more I brought up incidences and reasons why I should be feeling so hurt, it made me cry more, but it also made me feel kind of like, a pity party, instead of being mature and processing the feelings, asking for grace and letting that go. So I turned around and pointed the finger at me and said, why is this happening to me? Where do I need to grow deeper? Where do I need to grow more so that I'm not attracting this? Where do I need to ask forgiveness from others for times that they may have felt betrayed by me for some reason? And so that's been my meditation the last few days. And I'm in process still, I have to admit. I mean, we can be spiritually advanced as much as we can, but there's still always those areas where we're growing, and that we can peek underneath the carpet and say, this needs to be swept out. So that's going to be my meditation over the next week or so, because I'd like to go into the new year with this stuff behind me and to feel really free from it. But I have some deeper growth to go. So I really liked how you put that. And it is important to stay out of the mind and the story, because that just keeps feeding the hurt and the pain, and turn the focus onto something that can turn into more development and growth and freedom within us. And that's through grace and through really listening to the inner voice. So thank you for sharing that. That was very helpful.
One of the things they taught us in India is that we can actually recreate the charge. I mean, maybe by the grace of God, we've experienced it and let it go. And they said the reason that happens is that we dwell on the story,
Right.
what you were just saying.
Yeah.
So they said, don't don't keep revisiting the story of injustices you've suffered, because it actually will resurrect a charge that you've been healed from.
Right.
Let's do that.
There you go. Just to be right and righteous indignation.
Indignation.
Indignation. Yeah.
Yeah, Stacy writes, thanks for expanding on forgiveness. Stepping back from self-will. Very important. Betrayal is a tough one.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, we've been reading a book by Thomas Keating, Invitation to Love, and he sort of narrates what a certain kind of charge is like. How can they treat me this way? What's wrong with them? I'm a bad person. I mean, it ends up somehow coming around and stinging us. But yeah, it's like, yeah, it's
The other thing too, if I step back from it a little bit, it's like it may not have actually been a betrayal or anything intentional. It could have been just very, very innocent, and I took it that way. And so there's further exploration to do here.
yeah. It's like, why did you fall into that? It really hurt. But see, that person may not be conscious.
Right.
So you just said that.
Yeah.
I just said it again. All right. Any other questions or comments or observations?
It's about time to dive in. So.
Yeah. And so I think that's
Check
what we'll
in
do. Well, of course. Huh?
What?
Mike Davis.
Oh.
Can't take time to say much now, but hi there, Mike. Now there's an old friend. He's not so old, but he's been a friend for years and years, yes. We served together in ministry many years ago. Actually, we went to Bible school together.
Wow.
Wow, we go
Goes
way
way back.
back. Woo, that was a long time ago. Okay, so if you would close your eyes. And invoke the divine presence. Know the divine within you, and not just within you, the divine is all around you, above you, beneath you. In the divine we live and move and have our being. And this divine presence is everything, really, the source of all that exists. It is all powerful, all wise, and all loving. And it already knows exactly what you need, and has the power and the love and the wisdom to get it across to you. All of us need to be liberated from the illusion of the small self, the false self, and awaken to our true essence, which is one with God, one with others, and with nature and the universe, one with all that exists. And this divine presence yearns deeply to free you from suffering, to draw you into its embrace in pure, unconditional love, to draw you into the center, into oneness with all that is. It knows what you need before you know, and before you could even ask. So now, just now, simply let go and receive the divine grace that is pouring out to you, to fill your heart with light and love and joy. As it floods your heart with light and life and joy, it overflows into your soul, into the mental and emotional levels of your being that are so in need of healing. Just receive. Drink in and receive the presence. Keep receiving, keep soaking it in, breathing it in. It will dissolve the wrong thinking, the afflictive emotions, the destructive programs, and replace them all with divinely inspired ideas and plans and feelings. It'll keep on flowing right out from the center into your physical body to dissolve disease and pain, to fill you with divine life and divine health. Receive the healing grace of the divine presence. It will flow out into your relationships to make them right, to heal them. Draw into your life healthy, good relationships, rooted in love. This presence, if you just let go and are patient, will pour out through your heart, your soul, your body, your relationships, out into the world. You'll become a living lighthouse as it ripples out through you into the world to touch others. Imagine us sitting together in a blessing circle with our eyes closed, our hands lifted up with our palms open, facing forward. Let us all invite the divine to pour the flowering heart blessing through us all to each other. As it flows through you to the others in that circle, it flows back to you through them from the divine. Clearing, awakening, healing, transforming us all. Picture the earth in the middle of our circle, a beautiful, translucent blue gem of a planet that is alive and filled with life. Let us ask the divine to pour grace through us to the earth, to bring healing, to pour the flowering heart blessing through us to awaken the hearts of humanity all over the world. Perfect love dissolves fear. And away goes anger and violence and conflict. We ask the divine to flood all of humanity as we approach the new year with oceans of peace and grace and love. Just release the weight of all of your cares into the hands of the divine. Relax and rest in the presence. You can rest your hands in your lap, and when you're ready, open your eyes and begin to make direct eye contact with Suzanne and or me. Just gaze at least one of our eyes and just keep gazing. As we enter the light meditation, Suzanne and I are flooded with oceans of love and light and grace. And it pours through every fiber of our being to you, especially through our eyes, the windows of the soul. As you just keep looking, the light streams out through our eyes, in through your eyes, into your heart of hearts, causing the light of awakening and the fires of divine love to shine brighter and brighter and brighter within you. There's nothing for you to do. But just keep looking and receive. And close your eyes now. Meditate for a few more minutes with us as the grace settles within. Now you could keep meditating as long as you like, or lie down in Shavasana. Shavasana is a lovely yoga pose where you just find a comfortable place and lie down on your back. With your eyes closed, your arms loosely at your sides, with your palms open, turned upward, and just let yourself dissolve with gratitude in the presence.
Much love, light, and blessings.
Wish you all a very blessed, grace-filled, joyous New Year's. And we love you so much. Until we meet again, know that the divine in us beholds the divine within you. And we bow to you. Namaste.